Third morning session of the Johnston County Board of Commissioners to order, and welcome those of you who are here this morning with us in person. Also welcome those who are watching us on our YouTube live stream. Welcome to you. As is customary, we will open with the invocation and a pledge. I've asked Commissioner Rose to lead us in the invocation, and we will have American Legion Post 141 from Selma to lead us in the pledge. So if you choose so, please stand now and do the invocation.
Dear Lord, thank you for this day you've given us. Thank you for the opportunity to serve our county on this board. Please impart us the wisdom that we need to make good decisions for our fellow county constituents as we move forward with this meeting today. In your name we pray, amen.
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 Please face the American flag. Legion members, salute. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And please be seated. I did forget to mention the board priorities that we consider in every decision we make. They are educational funding, infrastructure, financial stewardship, land use, public safety, and our county employees. With that, we will move on to the first item on the agenda, which is approval and our discussion of the agenda. Are there any changes need to be made?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Agenda is approved. Next up, we have 6 items on the consent agenda for consideration and approval. They are approval of the minutes from February 3rd, both the 10 o'clock and 6 o'clock meeting, an order to advertise tax liens, a tax administration request for refund. We have appointments to our Economic Development Advisory Board for Pine Level. We have appointment to the Johnston County Board of Adjustment. And we also have an appointment to the Johnston County Board of Equalization and Review. And then we have budget revisions for our Health Department, Library, and Sheriff's Department. And the final item is tax releases and refunds from January the 16th through February the 15th of 2025. Any of those items need to be removed for further discussion.
Mr. Chairman, I move the consent agenda be approved as presented.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Just want to make sure that it did include, and I only know this because it's in our notes, approval of the request for refund in the amount of $2,224.83 to Robert and Karen Mills, that we grant Randy Jones a waiver in the length of service policy, and we appoint Jenny Harless to the Board of Equalization and Review to fill unexpired term ending April 30th, 2026. I think that was in your motion.
Yeah.
Second. All right.
Yes, sir.
Point of clarification, Mr. Chairman. It needs to be understood that tax refunds can only be occur in specific instances, and this is one of those instances.
That is correct. Do we need any more explanation on that?
Maybe just
From
that
our
it was a
attorney, I was gonna
clerical fix.
Clerical error.
Well, I was just going to say from our attorney to make sure that everybody understands what that means.
Yes, and there are instances under the statute which the General Assembly has given you the authority to release or refund taxes, and one of those is clerical error. And in this particular situation, there was a clerical error on behalf of the tax office that needs to be resolved.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor of approving the consent agenda with the noted changes, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? All right, consent agenda is approved. Next up, we have public comments, and we do have some folks who are signed up to speak. So first we have Paulette Williams, our Human Resources Director, with some recognition of retiring employees.
Yes. Good morning, Board of Commissioners.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. So today I'm here to share with you all our April 2025 retirees. Up first, we have Miss Martha Lassiter, who is with our Finance Department. She is not present today. And then we also have Kevin Hubbard, our Director of Emergency Services, who is present. And both employees, again, will be retiring with us April 1st, 2025.
And we're not happy about either one of them.
Motion
Well,
to deny.
I don't know what you're gonna do without Martha, but I got good folks. But I wanted to take the opportunity to tell you thank you for allowing me to be up here and recognizing, my retirement and allowing me to have my family here with me. I want to first say thanks to my family who have endured a lot of times when I wasn't able to be there, having to do my job. It takes you away from family. And for about 30 years, my wife raised both my kids while I was at the fire service as a single parent for 2 kids. So she worked really hard, and my kids have endured a lot of missing times and ball games and holidays and birthdays. So I also got some of my staff here. Definitely like to recognize my staff, Ryan Parker, Sandy Wood, and Ted Hardy, and they represent each one of our 3 divisions. And, any success that I've had in my position has been a result of those folks. So I want to certainly tell them thank you. I'd like to name everybody that works in Johnston County, especially our department heads, but I can't. I leave some folks out. But Rick and I have talked about this a lot. We got great relationships here in Johnston County, and we work very well together. And again, any successes or achievements we have has been a result of all our department heads working together. And our fearless leader, Mr. Rick Hester, thank you for giving me the opportunity to do this job. I appreciate it so much. Chad and Jennifer, keep me out of trouble. And thank you all, the board, for allowing us to do what we do and always making emergency safety, public safety one of your top priorities, and we appreciate that. So, thank you all.
Thank you.
Mr.
very
Chairman,
much.
this makes me feel old because Kevin played football, high school football with my son. But when I call one of my sons on the phone, voice recognition is Evan. And I say, call Evan. Even on the weekend, it calls Kevin.
It does.
And he always answers the phone. So he's been very
Absolutely.
diligent. He's always available any time of day.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Mr. Chairman, let me, if I can add also, Kevin, thank you for your leadership. In this group that you see here, having come from a public safety career, we've got the best of the best. And so Johnston County is very fortunate, very blessed to have each one of you in leadership. And Kevin, you've done an extraordinary job. And I'm a big fan of Kevin Hubbard, and wherever you go, you will be successful. And I know that you'll take great things to them. And so Johnston County is better because you were here.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
And I would just say, speaking of phone calls, early on, when I first got here, every time you called, I thought it was usually something not so good. So I will say those transitioned to
Yes, sir.
better calls and less
Yes, sir.
frequent on the bad
Yes,
news
That's
side.
right,
So
that's
I was
right.
very appreciative that
Thank you
the
very
tenor of those calls
Yes, sir.
changed.
Thank
So,
you very much. Yes,
but I
sir.
wish you well, and thank you for everything you've done and helped educate me on what's going on in the emergency services
Yes, sir.
in Johnston County. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Y'all want to get a picture?
Hold on, Rick.
Oh, Rick's got to say.
Do you mind? I just wanted to thank Kevin. He said it kind of lightly, but that is a job that's around the clock and everything. There's so many people and they're out doing things all around the clock. And the funny thing was, on the last inclement weather thing, we had this system where Kevin checks the roads and I stay up and we talk. I said, man, we are getting too old for this. We got to have some sleep. But he is always there, and he keeps us up to date on when something goes wrong in the county that you need to know about that's going to be on the news, but just great leadership and a wonderful team there. So thank you, Kevin.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I would just say, too, to his family, I know, thank you for sharing Kevin with the county for so many years. And I know he wasn't as absent as all that he said, but I know he was present, made a little bit of a difference there. But thank you for sharing him with the county for all these years, and enjoy him now that he's retired. All right, thank y'all.
We're going to do a picture.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
picture.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't get the black memo today. You should have called me.
I say, well, normally I'm the one in a different color.
All right.
1, 2, 3. All right, family?
Family shot.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You got to get back before the bell rings, though.
1, 2, 3. And then do you want to do one more? Yeah.
I like those shirts. That's sharp.
Do what?
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
again.
y'all.
Thank you. All right, next we'll move on to the traditional public comment, and this is the time for any audience member who wishes to address the board on an item that is not on the agenda to come forward, and when you do, please state your name and town or township that you're from. Remember that you have 3 minutes to speak, and this is the time for the board to listen and not to engage in conversation. So if you'd like to come up and speak, please do so now. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Emily Harris. I work at News Charter School, and I live in Smithfield, and I'm back again. News Charter School Superintendent Dr. Melissa Blackwell was back at your last board meeting on February 17th, where on your agenda you had a News Charter School discussion. The results of that discussion, the outcome of that discussion for our funding request, were that you were going to discuss our funding request. That's not good enough. The students at News Charter School deserve better. I understand that the county has other priorities than the students at News Charter School. That's also not good enough. I understand that you're going to try to work something into next year's budget. That's not good enough. The students at News Charter deserve better. At the last meeting, Commissioner Godwin said that it was hard to approve a funding request in the middle of a fiscal year. That's why we presented our funding request over a year ago. Commissioner Harris said, we have no idea what this looks like, this being approving News Charter School's funding request. That's why we presented our funding request over a year ago. In this calendar year, in 2025, you have approved over $60 million for Johnston County Public Schools facilities in the middle of the fiscal year. I understand that $30 million of that in January was for the bond, but the $30 million in February was not from the bond because it also included a Four Oaks manufacturing facility. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but that's a whole lot more than the full funding request that News Charter has presented. So while approving funding requests mid-year is hard, it can be done. At the last meeting, Commissioner Stevens said very kind words about what a good job News Charter School does and how excited she is about partnering with News Charter School. Well, that's what we want. But the ball's in your court. To start the partnership, you have to make a significant investment in News Charter School students, showing them that they are worthy and deserving. Commissioner Stevens said that she supports the work that News Charter School does. She knows families who News Charter blesses. She has trouble spending other people's tax dollars on the charter school, though. Do you have trouble spending my tax dollars on Johnston County public school facilities? I've lived in Johnston County my whole life, paid a whole lot of taxes. A lot of those taxes have gone to Johnston County Public Schools facilities. Neither of my children has ever attended a public Johnston County public school. Do you feel bad about that? It seems not, as their funding requests do not require discussion. Those funding requests do not have to be worked into the budget at a much later time in a different fiscal year. I've been told not to lose heart, that government works slowly, and I understand that. But I would love an example of another funding request that has followed a similar timeline to News Charter Schools. You all have children. You know that school years are not like grown-up years. They are fast. They are finite. We only get 13 of them, and each one is integral to our kids' education. Every school year that you wait is detrimental to News Charter students, to Johnston County's kids, and to my kids. At the last County Commissioners meeting, legal counsel Jennifer Slusser further explained the legislation and the legality of funding News Charter Schools funding request, approving News Charter Schools funding request. She, along with Chairman Lauder and Mr. Hester, all reiterated that the county is obligated to fund traditional public schools facilities and may fund public charter schools facilities. May being the operative word. I understand may, but I also understand that Johnston County funds a whole lot of programs and a whole lot of nonprofits that you're not obligated to fund. An example and a personal point of contention is a recent feral cats program. Is Johnston County obligated to fund feral cats? No. Did Johnston County, in fact, fund feral cats, prioritizing them over New Charter students? Yes. New Charter's original funding request was $8 million to complete an elementary classroom building. That funding request also said $16 million was necessary to complete our campus with full athletic facilities. Every month that you wait to approve that funding request, building costs go up, interest rates go up. If you would like to approve New Charter's funding request today, $10 million is necessary for our elementary building. With $10 million as a budget addendum today, Noose would be able to complete our elementary building. If this funding request is not approved this year, by next fiscal year, the projects will be $18 million to complete. While Dr. Blackwell said at your last meeting that we would never turn down money for our students, our funding request is reasonable and doable. This is a right and reasonable request and use of taxpayer dollars, my taxpayer dollars. The students at Noose Charter deserve more, not less. There was an op-ed in the Johnstonian last week titled "Noose Charter Deserves Better." I wholeheartedly agree. The op-ed also said that you could approve Noose Charter's full funding request out of your fund balance without having to move money, without having to crunch numbers or study debt services or work it into your next year's budget. Please approve a $10 million appropriation today and then discuss, then check your debt services and work the additional $6 or $8 million into your budget for next year. If you have any additional questions about Noose Charter's funding request, I'm always available. Thank you again for your consideration today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Harris. Anyone else wishing to speak? All right, seeing no one else come forward, I think, Madam Clerk, we have one email. We had an email from Doug Bell, who lives in the Johnston County side with the Zebulon address. He had some concerns primarily with zoning issues, with home businesses, number of occupants and animals. And if we would, if everybody agrees, we would direct staff to look into his concerns.
Yes.
All right. All right, the next item is a public hearing for financing a portion of the Advanced Manufacturing Training Center in Four Oaks and a classroom addition at Cleveland High School. And bear with me for a second while I read this. This is the date and an hour, place and hour fixed by the Board of Commissioners for a public hearing concerning a proposed plan of financing in an aggregate principal amount up to $30 million involving the entry by the county into an installment financing contract with the Johnston County Finance Corporation pursuant to North Carolina General Statutes 160A-20 as amended, the proceeds of which will be used to pay all or a portion of the cost of the acquisition, construction, renovation, and equipping of one or more new buildings to be used as public school or community college facilities in Johnston County. Under the contract, the county would secure the repayment by the county of the monies advanced pursuant to such contract by granting a security interest and lien on all or some portion of the project and or all or some of the real property upon which the project is located. The obligations of the county under the contract will not be deemed to be a pledge of faith and credit to the county within the meaning of any constitutional debt and limitation. No deficiency judgment may be rendered against the county in any action for breach of contract and for taxing power of the county is not and may not be pledged directly or indirectly or contingently to secure any monies due under the contract. If there is anyone present who wishes to be heard on this matter, please come forward at this time. All right. I will close the public hearing and we will move on to item 5, which is declaring official intent to reimburse expenditures for Clayton High School project and Chad McGlam will present that to us.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The staff requests the board to adopt a resolution declaring the official intent to reimburse expenditures regarding the Clayton High School projects with any proceeds of debt. The resolution will allow the county to be reimbursed for Clayton High School project expenditures paid by the county through the proceeds of debt. So we just need, if you wouldn't mind, a motion to adopt declaring official intent to reimburse expenditures from the county for the Clayton High School project.
All right, any questions for Chad on that? All right, do I hear a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move to adopt a resolution declaring the official intent to reimburse expenditures on the Clayton High School project.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we have an update on the Nursing Home and Adult Care Community Advisory Board from Mr. Coleman. Good morning, Mr. Coleman.
Good morning. This is my 8th year serving as on the Community Advisory Committee. This year is my privilege to serve as chairman of that committee. Today with me we have Glenda Apple, who serves as our secretary, and someone I know you recognize, Jimmy Parker, who's been on the committee for more than a dozen years. Currently, there are 10 active members, 1 in training, and 2 prospective members. There are also 2 others who have expressed an interest in joining our committee. The members of the Community Advisory Committee serve as grassroots volunteer advocates for the residents living in long-term care in the county. We make routine visits to all long-term care facilities, assure that residents' rights are respected, pay close attention to the general conditions under which the residents are living, and promote community involvement, education, and awareness of the needs of residents in long-term care. The members of the committee complete extensive training provided by the regional ombudsman and the state ombudsman. 2 years ago, the required training increased from 15 to 36 hours for new advocates. Each year, all members are required to complete 18 hours of continuing education. This time commitment is in addition to attending monthly meetings, making quarterly visits to nursing homes and adult care homes, and annual visits to family care homes. These visits can take anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour. Wrong page. In the past, our teams would visit the different facilities each quarter. We changed that to visit the facilities for 2 consecutive quarters. This enables us to better follow up any issues or concerns that have been identified. We work very closely with the Adult Services Division of the County Department of Social Services. Since we are volunteers and not regulators, we share our findings with the DSS as appropriate, and they can take official action if it's warranted. Each month, each team reports the results of their facility visits at our meeting. Resident confidentiality is carefully guarded, and no personally identifiable information is revealed. Summary reports of the visits are uploaded to the county's website under the Health and Human Services heading. In 2024, the CAC teams volunteered over 700 hours and traveled more than 2,800 miles to visit 5 nursing homes, 11 adult care homes, and 19 family care homes. Some of the issues that we encountered are what you might expect: staffing levels that are too low, turnover in leadership, complaints about the food, not enough activities for the residents, and inadequate funding. However, we don't just focus on the shortcomings. What cannot be overemphasized is the caring nature of the staff that do the work, some of them at the same facility for more than 20 years, and the home-like environment that so many of the residents spoke about. Certainly, there are improvements to be made, but for the most part, our senior citizens are being cared for by dedicated, committed, compassionate fellow citizens. This concludes my report for 2024. Thank you for your support of our committee, and those who care for the members of our community who are in their declining years. In closing, I would like to say to everyone present, if you want to brighten someone's day, join one of the churches or other civic groups that visit those who may not be able to receive other visitors. You may be surprised to find that your day is the one that has been brightened. Thank you for your support.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from Mr. Coleman?
I do have a comment, Mr. Chairman. Thank you so much for your work on this group, Mr. Coleman. Also, your leadership on the DSS board has been very instrumental in serving the citizens of the county, so I appreciate both of it. And thank you to your group that goes around to do this work and ensure that our senior citizens are well taken care of. So appreciate
Thank you. It's
that.
been my privilege.
As chairman, you got some big shoes to fill.
I did have a question. So if I remember correctly, you have a lot of potential board members. It seems like there's a significant number, and there's been a large number of openings. Am my memory bad on this board?
There have been openings, but they're being filled. In the past, I'd say, past 3 or 4 months, we've had about 5 people express an interest.
Okay.
So that is something that's being improved, and I appreciate your support on that. One of the things that came up recently is that the Wake County Board has only about 5 members, and they're a much larger facility, much larger organization than we are. So I think it speaks well of the citizens of Johnston County that they are supporting the seniors. These are I guess like we call them super seniors, those that have been in nursing homes and other facilities, and to know that the county is supporting them, and there's an interest on part of their fellow younger citizens who hope to be senior citizens someday, that there is an interest in supporting them.
Okay. I would just make the suggestion. There happens to be a gentleman sitting right there, Dr. Lindquist, with the president of JCC. He may have some young folks who are interested, or maybe even some less young folks who may be interested in being a board member. So I would suggest y'all make a connection and see if there's any additional members that you may pick up that Dr. Lindquist has connections with.
Well, thank you. We will make that happen.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, and with that, we have Dr. Lindquist here for a discussion on our public safety training positions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And as we talked about a couple weeks ago, it would be very helpful for us if we could get some interim funding from the commissioners to fund 3 positions in public safety. We've got the job descriptions and the search committees ready to go as we speak. And the total amount we would need for that interim funding until we are confident that our state money would kick in is $292,956.
So could you talk a little bit about the funding and the delay in arrears, that whole
Sure.
thing, why we are where we are today?
Right, and as you may be aware of, we're funded in the community college system in a very interesting manner. The community colleges in the state do not keep any of their tuition funds. Those go straight to the state, and we get funded in any given year based upon how many students we had in the prior year. So that made this particular year very challenging. And so even though our public safety is in the continuing education department, which year over year is up 36%, we're not going to be seeing that money for a very long time. So we're going to be confident, I think, that we can continue these positions in July of next year. But until then, our budget is a little up in the air. We don't really even have budget predictions yet from the community college system.
All right, any other questions for Dr. Lindquist?
No, sir, I do have a comment. I want to speak on the extraordinary job that these folks are doing, and just adding these positions is a result of the success of these programs. And so I appreciate your leadership in that and the folks that are doing this, because it's providing a vital service to our public safety individuals around the county and surrounding counties. So I appreciate that, and I'm prepared to make the motion, Mr. Chairman, if you're ready for one.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the funding request in the amount of $292,956 for Johnston Community College public safety training positions.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I know Dr. Lindquist says there's an expectation that state funding is going to come through, but What happens if it does not?
That will present us with a massive challenge. So we need these positions in the county, so we're going to do what we need to do to make them happen. But the fact is, we have so many curriculum and public safety positions and continuing education positions that we need, that if we get state cutbacks or they don't give us our enrollment and increase money, it will be a very challenging budget year for us.
Well, I thank you for that explanation. I support funding these positions, but I'd like, just want to get into the record that there's a certain amount of risk here in terms of the state budget situation. And that assumes also that they're going to get a budget approved before they adjourn.
We're hopeful. Yeah.
All right. Any other discussion, questions? All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion to approve the funding, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Make sure you get with Mr. Coleman. All right, next up, we have our tax administrator, Jocelyn Andrews, here to go over the delinquent tax collection report.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Before you, you have the January collection report. It takes you through the end of January. As you can see, we were slightly above last year at the same time. But as I have said in previous years, at the same time, that last $5 million is the tough that we have to go get now. That being said, in your consent agenda, you approved the advertisement of delinquent tax liens as it relates to real property, and we expect that advertisement to run in the Johnstonian on the March 12th date. I'll be happy to take any questions in regards to this.
All right, any questions?
No.
I had a question, maybe not related to this, but on the appeals process and kind of where
I
we
was
were.
going there. You're ahead of me. You are ahead of me.
That might be on a few people's minds, I don't know.
So at this point, as y'all have been made aware, informal appeals closed on the 10th of February. Staff is working extremely hard to address those, and we've finished roughly 66% of those. At this point, the goal is to have those done the next 2 or 3 weeks. To date, we have had 5,676 appeals, which is a little over, well, about 4.7% of the total parcels for the county. Our goal is to have our decision letters mailed. We're not mailing any until we mail them all, and that's for those that filed online, those who appealed on person or appealed online, appealed by paper, or appealed in person. We plan to mail all of those at the same time, and our goal is to have those done or mailed the last week in March. That's a key date for us because our Board of Equalization and Review is set to convene on April the 8th, which will be the day after your next Monday morning meeting. We want to get those decision letters out such that if property owners do not agree with the office decision, they can then go before the board. So about the time or when the letters mail to property owners regarding the decision of the informal appeals, we will then open the appeal window for the formal appeals to the Board of Equalization Review. And they will be able to appeal online and by paper at that time. So that gives you an idea of where we are on that. Again, staff has been head down between my staff, my appraisal staff, and the vendor, our Pearson Appraisal Service. They have been very hard at it, trying to get these resolved and address them, devote the time to them that we need to be able to make some decisions that were appropriate for the appeals. Be happy to take any questions.
All right, any questions on that?
Can you give us just a real brief explanation of the difference between the formal and the informal appeals?
Yes. So informal, my staff can work it. Okay, my staff can make the decision. We can look at the information. We know during the informal process, because we try to start that immediately when the notice of values go out. It gives my staff time to hear from the public and actually take the time to work them. And the bulk of them historically are resolved during the informal process. When they appeal formally to the Board of Equalization Review, once the board convenes, which the date anticipated at this point is April 8th, once they convene, my office can make no further decisions, okay? We will still work them, but we will make a recommendation to the board, okay? And the board will have to decide whether to accept it or not. Now, a lot of people, when we do work, some people have not appealed yet, okay? Some people choose not to go the informal route, and that's fine. But my office will work those, but again, we can't make the decision. Now, we might have a recommendation. We may, in working with the property owner and discussing with the property owner, it may be decided that, oh, here's what, we believe it should be, and they will work with that property owner. If it's agreed upon, then the board's told they agreed upon. But if we can't come to an agreement with the property owner, then we will schedule an appointment for that property owner or the representative to appear before the board, present their case, the tax office will present its case, and then the board will make the determination what the value of the property is at that point.
Okay, thank you.
And yes, we still have one opening, and based on your vote today, we still have one opening on the Board of Equalization and Review.
Okay, you beat me to that one. It's very scary. So still one more opportunity
One more to
for
go,
somebody.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
all right. So if there's anybody out there or in here, see Jocelyn. Okay, any other questions? All right, thank you. All right, manager reports and comments.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, board members, I just wanted to mention, recently the county did receive the AAA bond ratings on the next $100 million general obligation sale from the 2022 school bond referendum. And that sale is tomorrow. So we'll be keeping you posted on that. We expect there to be a lot of bidders, and we expect a tremendous interest rate there that is always, we go with fixed rates. And so we'll be getting that information out as we get that tomorrow. So just wanted to mention that. And we'll be getting some information out about that as well as the rating together. So.
All right.
Sounds good.
Any questions?
I tell you, that AAA rate makes a difference. It does, because it provides a lower interest rate debt service, so worth a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that brings us to board reports and comments. And Commissioner Davis, I'll start with you this time.
Okay. I just wanted to again commend county employees and public safety from all the snow and the ice we had a couple weeks ago. It was a lot. Definitely not feeling like how it was yesterday whenever it was, or this weekend with it being 70 degrees. Welcome to the fake spring. But thank you again for all the public safety from all the different departments and EMS and everything for trying to keep Johnston County safe.
Thank you. Mr. Stovall.
I've got nothing to add today this morning, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Commissioner Godwin.
Just briefly, we talked at the last meeting about, I haven't had a chance to talk with our council about this, about the supporting the naming of a bridge in micro area for Dr. James Batten. But I have determined that we do need to adopt a resolution. I think any jurisdiction that it's under, and it's obviously in the county. So I don't know if we need to do, I've got wording for a resolution. Town of Micro has already adopted one. I have several letters of support, but I think we're getting in order along with our resolution. We have funding in place for it. Do we need to do that at our next meeting, council?
And I think, yeah, if we can.
Yes, sir, that would be preferable.
And I think we have one for the bridge.
That's right.
That we had done earlier, so, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
That's all I got.
All right. Commissioner Stevens?
Not this morning.
Commissioner Rose?
I would just say it was a real honor to be a part of the Commissioner Tony Brazel bridge naming last week. That was quite an event, and he was a very, very special person in this county, and that was a very nice event.
All right. Thank you. Vice Chairman Harris?
Thank you, sir. Mr. Chairman, I had the honor and privilege last Friday to attend, along with Mr. Hester, the North Carolina Excellence in Law banquet and luncheon. It was really an impressive event where our very own Jennifer Slusser, our county attorney, was recognized by her peers as a leader in law award. And so I just want to bring, we all knew how awesome she was, and now she's been recognized by her peers, and we just want to congratulate her on that. It was really an impressive event and really well done, and so I was honored to be have an opportunity to be there with you. And so congratulations, Ms. Slusser. You keep up the great work, and you're a recognized state award winner now, so the bar is high.
All right, anything else?
No, sir.
Couple things just for nonprofits out there. Nonprofit funding applications are available on our finance page of the county's website at johnstonNC.gov/FINWEB. I didn't know if that was up there on the screen or not. Also, our retreat, which the snow postponed. And it is interesting when Mr. Hubbard was up and Rick, the number of phone calls that take place to make what most people would probably assume is a very easy decision. A lot of time goes into making that decision. So we have rescheduled that for March the 26th and 27th. It will still be at the Workforce Development Center in Clayton. I will say there's a lot of scrambling going on to make sure we could pin all that down. So Dr. Lindquist, thank you for working with us on that. But that will be, again, March 26th and 27th, and we will start both mornings at 9 a.m., and those will be live streamed as well. Also, Commissioner Rose had mentioned the naming of the bridge for Tony Braswell. That was a great opportunity, a great ceremony. We had his family there, members of his community. The mayor of Pine Level was there. Most of our board members were there, DOT representatives, other towns were there. It was a lot of people came together to make this happen. I do want to say, you mentioned funding on the other bridge, and do thank the Johnston County Firefighters Association for stepping up and for taking care of that, and the commissioners as well for chipping in on that. But great event right out there. As I said, as you cross that bridge, just remember Tony's service to our community, the entire Johnston County state, particularly the veterans. I forgot to mention the veterans were present. A lot of those were there. But also just remember his humor, for those who knew Tony, he probably said a thing or two about that bridge and the I-42 being in his backyard. So remember his service and his humor as you cross under or over that bridge. And with that, I do have one more really important thing for the Lauder family. I have a first birthday for my grandson Wrigley coming up on Thursday, and the following Thursday I have another one for a 5-year-old grandson, Nolan. So happy birthday, and Papa B loves you. And we'll be getting something really nice. One of them's going to Disney, so that's good. All right, that's it. We do not have a need for a closed session today. We will adjourn, but we will reconvene as we meet as the Johnston County Finance Corporation. So I'll entertain the motion to adjourn the Board of Commissioners meeting. All right, we have a motion.
Second.
And a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Then we will move on. I will now call the special meeting of the Johnston County Finance Corporation to order and call on Chad McLam to come forward and present information to us on the financing of the Advanced Manufacturing Center and the classroom addition at Cleveland High School.
Yes, the purpose of this special meeting of the Johnston County Finance Corporation is for you to consider adopting a resolution approving the plan of finance for a portion of the Advanced Manufacturing Training Center in Four Oaks, as well as the classroom addition at Cleveland High School, and also authorizing the execution and delivery of all related documents in connection with those projects. So we're asking you for that resolution today.
All right, any questions? All right, their motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution to approve the plan to finance a portion of the Advanced Manufacturing Training Facility in Four Oaks and the classroom addition at Cleveland High School.
All right. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
And then before we do adjourn, I just want to say the commissioners will have a lunch today with the Johnston County Cooperative Extension at 12 o'clock at the Ag Center. So we will all be there for that. It's always interesting to go and see what's happening in agriculture in Johnston County. And the bridge is out, so yeah, make sure you take the long way around.
We'll take the good scenic tour.
Yeah. All right. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to adjourn as the Johnston County Finance Corporation. And all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Then we are adjourned.